Okay, these are my notes for my very first Evocati testing session for patch 3.23 in PTU on March 27th, 2024 from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so these are just the public patch notes on Spectrum, and I went through each of these lines so that way I gotta, be able to do like a checklist of the things that I was able to do during these 4 hours. So stability, main focus. Yes, I tested the stability just by being present, and I logged in and my spawn point was on Orison, and I switched servers 3 times. I got one 30k, or actually 2 30ks, and we'll go into the server crash recovery because these two are related. So yes, I did get server errors, and I got 6 recoveries out of that. So I think the stability is there with only 2 30ks. Going on into the full character customizer revamp. Yes, I was able to experience this. I went ahead and changed the skin on my character. So the character had freckles, sunspots. Those can be added or removed, and these had sliders where you can pretty much up the amount of freckles or sunspots or both, or you can reduce them to the point where none were showing. And then the range of skin tones and eye colors you can choose from. So there are a lot of colors that you can choose. It's pretty much a gradient from light to dark of any color. So they had a wide range of colors to choose from. So no shortage of options there. Yes, you can dye your hair. You can dye your hair at the roots. You can have variations of dyes. So I thought that was pretty cool to have a lot of options in that regard. When it did come to like certain colors like gray or silver, which is normally the hair color that I tend to choose in all of my MMO characters, that was harder to kind of get, but no problem at all. I was able to at least get something that was kind of gray. Notes on user interface. So because this is a new UI, I took some time to learn about it, to learn how to change colors on eyes or on eyebrows or beard or obviously hair. So at first it wasn't as intuitive on the dyeing part, but because I took my time on it, I was able to start getting it and being able to know how to change the hair, the eyebrows, and the facial hair, like beards and mustaches. So all that right there, it worked fine. Okay, going back to let's see here. The server recoveries, by the way, for the most part, some of them took longer than others on these 6 server recoveries. So some of them lasted 5 minutes, some of them lasted 10 minutes, some of them lasted 20 minutes, and some of them lasted, I think one lasted about 30 minutes for a server recovery. So I just, decided, hey, because the main focus of this build, the stability, I decided to just wait it out and also communicate on the ePTU testing chat, also in Spectrum. So I just clearly labeled I put in chat when the server error started, and then when the server recovery started as well, or when the server error ended. So I was just very clear on my communication with that, just to let the devs know whenever, I guess, they're text mining this, and being able to categorize people's responses as they were going through their testing experience. Okay, Moby Glass rework. So we got new icons. So on the bottom right, we have med pen count, grenades, gunfire mode. On the bottom left, we have air, water, food, and HPA, which I don't know what that is. And then at the center top of the screen, we have the compass. So we're able to see what degree we're looking at. And then on the right and the left-hand side, we have the angle in which you're looking up and looking down. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And then we have the mini map at the top left. So I thought that was pretty cool. And what interesting enough about the mini map, you're also able to see when elevator doors open and close, as well as when the elevators actually start to come to you, right? To the elevator that you are waiting for. So you can actually see it just a little bit when the elevators do arrive. And then to the top right, there's the conventional status icons, like you're in a what do you call this? In an area where there's a comm array that is on, and obviously the armistice zone icon. And then when there are interactable objects, or if you're in the bed, you'll be able to see the icon with an F, and it is semi-opaque, transparent. So whenever you see some of those points, depending on where your vision is focused on, you will see that interactable icon that says this is interactable, like press F, right? And then let me see if there's any other Moby Glass rework notes here that I have. I've been typing up a lot of notes, just trying to be observative of all the details that I can interact with, or anything that seemed different to me, or something that I've seen for the first time. Okay, inventory. So regular inventory, it's the same thing as it has always been. I think the key difference here is that all of the inventory objects were actually showing for once. They loaded faster. They were a little bit darker for some reason. I don't know why. So those are the only changes that I've seen in the inventory screen. There were some very obvious bugs that were related to just looking at the game while you're in world, right? This is probably the biggest and most annoying bug on the Evocati for this patch, for this version of the patch. There was this big flashbang that was happening. Because there were a lot of keybind changes, I wanted to go and see what those keybind changes were, and they were also in the patch notes as well. But I wanted to go also check inside the game. And when I did that, the flashbang started to happen after I got out of the keybind screen. The flashbang was kind of like a strobe, and this became an issue council report. But pretty much there was so much flashbang happening and all this, I would say, high frequency of flashing that it kind of started getting me kind of, how can I say this? It felt like I was getting kind of dizzy. So I decided to just quit out of the game altogether, come back in, and then not look at my keybinds, the keybind screen anymore. So that was fine. It didn't happen ever again. And when I also quit and I restarted, I went into a new server. So I initially started at server shard 030, and then I went to 040 when I restarted. Other things about the new mobiGlas rework: the in-game chat, the chat text was rapidly going up and down. So I also contributed to that bug, and then just turn it off because it was very distracting. And the in-game chat text was black. So I'm not sure if that was intentional or if it's unfinished, but I just wanted to report what I saw. Okay. Other things about the mobiGlas rework. So when I enter one of the in-game stores, like a Kelto RX, or when I got over to Seraphim, or when I was trying to buy some water or food, I started to see details about the product, how much it cost. If I were to buy Cruise Lux or water, it would tell you the attributes of that product. So this is more kind of like an augmented reality, mixed reality type feature. For the most part, I did like it. I felt that it was a good feature because if I wanted to find out more from live, I had to, press F and then look through whatever item I was going to buy. Here, it was just wherever my focus was attentioned, typically at the center of the screen, I would see the details. One bug that was coming up was that some of the item details were showing behind the item. And if the items were stacked, like we would have water or Cruise Lux on the top, and then we would have like soda pop on the bottom. The items on the bottom, the product details were showing behind the items. So I wanted to report this bug, but the issue council platform itself was inconsistently performing. So the issue council platform also had problems. So I just wanted to report that. I'm going to put these issue council reports in tomorrow. Okay. Okay. Star map. Yes, I did. In the interior map and the mini map, yes, I did test these as well. So let's go and start off with the star map because this is the feature that I'm most excited about. So my initial first impressions of the star map, I liked it. I think that one of the things that needs to be worked on is the transparency and the opaqueness of the graphics. There were times where the background of wherever I'm looking at the star map kind of interfered with the delivery of the information visually, meaning sometimes there was some confusion as to what I was looking at because of the opaqueness or the transparency. Another thing is the text shadowing distance from the foreground and the text shadow. I think that the distance needs to be closer and the text shadow needs to be darker. Because the distance from the foreground text to the text shadow was farther apart. It made reading the text harder. All right, moving on to my next bullet point. Zooming in and out with the mouse wheel is intuitive on the map, so I thought that was pretty cool. I was just like, oh, maybe I just use my scroll wheel and that would work, and it did. And they also had some user interface buttons where you can go up a level or go down a level specific to the map that you're in. So if you needed to go to a lower level, they had a button for that. So I thought that was cool. But you can also use your scroll wheel to go from the level that you were on. So say, for example, I'm in Orison. I'm at the ASOP terminal section. I can scroll wheel zoom out, and I can get to the planetary level. Or I can go ahead and use the user interface buttons. Okay. Oh, yeah, and then I think I mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. While I was looking at the star map, while I was in Orison, I was able to observe people opening elevators without even having to look at the elevators. I saw them open elevators in the map, so I thought that was pretty cool. All right, markers. Yes, markers can be set. I thought it was semi-intuitive. Originally, when I tried to set a marker, and I'm trying to remember this from memory, and looking at some of my screenshots here, the reason why I said it was kind of intuitive was I was attempting to do a right click on the map to set my marker, but that was not the correct way to do it. And I was trying to right click on a specific location. Come to find out that I needed to move the map to where I wanted to go, and then use the button on the user interface to set the marker, and then name the marker, and then be able to finish what I needed to do, naming it, and then save it. So let me go through my notes here. Okay. Text marker cursor is one character behind when typing. So typically when I'm typing, there's always like the text cursor is always at the end of typing. Here, it's one character behind, meaning A, B, C, D, E, F, G. My last letter is F. The cursor wouldn't be behind the F, it would be in front of the F. So I thought that was a bug. Okay. When setting an invalid marker, meaning, I want to set my marker here and I press save, there is no error message that says your error marker, your marker did not save, or that is an invalid marker. So I think that they needed to add that to let me know that I didn't set it correctly. And then you cannot delete a marker yet. I did not see a button, or I didn't see a function that says that I can delete. So those were my notes on the star map, but my overall feeling of the star map is, 1, it's going in the right direction. 2, that there needs some tweaks and some visual tweaks about transparency and opaqueness in relation to the background wherever I was accessing the star map, because this is all part of the mobiGlass, right? So but overall I like where it's going. I think it will get better over time, but right now it's just like these are the very basic bugs that I've caught on the star map. Moving on to other parts of the mobiGlass experience. Notifications. So the journal prices for commodities, that is still at the upper or the top center, and it shows as an orange bordered box and text, I think. And then for other types of notifications, you would just open up your mobiGlass and you would see it. It kind of looks like a list of items, and you can mark all of them as read, and there's that red notification dot. So to me personally, the red dot, I'm OCD about this, so I feel compelled to mark as read all. I wish that we can turn on and off certain types of notifications, but I guess that's for later, if they do decide to do that. But for now, yes, their notifications are there. All of them are there, and the red the red dot is there. So I think, to me, yes, it does its job, notifying, and to me personally, again, it's a little bit annoying. All right. Contracts. Contracts, they can either be you can click on a particular type of contract, like bounty hunter or mercenary, and it's a drop down function. Like if you press the down arrow, it will show all the contracts specific to that subject. But you can also expand all the items without having to do them manually. So again, it's up to you. They do provide two options. And then there is this toggle switch on verified versus unverified. So this is like illegal versus legal missions. And then you can see the contract text and so forth for all your contracts. Okay, knickknacks. Knickknacks was not working. There were no search functions. The drop downs don't work. Nothing was loading. Vehicle loadout manager, that was not working. Also, the health view was not working, and in-game comms or in-game chat, that was not working. Okay, the home screen for the Mobi-Glass, it's been revamped. It's a little bit off-center. It shows all your vitals, everything that usually the home screen does. They had revamped it to match the visual style of the new Mobi-Glass rework. I felt that was a nice touch. It showed your body temperature, how hungry you are, oxygen, things like that. But for the most part, I think it's headed in the right direction. The ship minimap. Yes, it works. It looks just like as if I was in a building. The ship minimap, in this case, I was in a Carrack. I chose the Carrack to test out the T2 medical bed, just in case if I were to get into space or in another moon or planet. If I died, I can spawn back in the Carrack. So I wanted to test that out. But the ship minimap did work, especially on a multi-level ship. I can see the elevator. I can see myself going through the hallway of the Carrack, as well as opening and closing doors on my way to the Tier 2 medbed. Okay, let's see here. I did not try EVA. Did not do loot screen. No FPS. No backpack reloading. No ammo. No dynamic crosshair. No. Actually, I did test the physical shopping UI. That's related to the Mobi-Glass rework. Or no, not the Mobi-Glass rework. The visor lens. So these two are interrelated. So the physical shopping UI is there. Unfortunately, I was not able to buy anything. But when I got to Seraphim and I was testing out the shopping experience there, I was able to, let me check my screenshots here. Yeah, I was able to look at the armors, and I can see that I can press F to interact with them. And I see their prices, I see their attributes. So I thought that was fine. Not all the armor was loading on the mannequin, but for the most part, I like the direction where this is going with the armor, so I don't have to always go to the terminal. I could just, look at whatever it is I wanted to buy and get the vital information there. Mannequins in general with the armor, I don't typically shop that way in the game. I typically just go to the terminal. But I think there's a lot of possibilities with kind of like emulating how the real world in the real world, how we shop. So looking forward to that, but directionally, I think it's going in the right direction, and I like this feature. Okay, moving on. Not ready, testing for feedback, so I skipped this entirely. Features and gameplay. Overhauled water, did not get a chance to look at that. Full AI ship combat, nope, I did not get a chance to do that. Mobileglass rework, yes, I already detailed my experiences. I didn't see anything on MoTrader. I didn't have anybody as a friend. I didn't transfer any money. Journal apps, yep. Rework. Star map rework, already talked about that. FPS map system. I didn't do any FPS, but the map system overall I did test. So I should say actually no, because I didn't do any FPS. Vehicle targeting keybind updates. So let's see. Did I do anything here? No. No, I didn't do any of this. Yeah, I guess that's it. Okay, so overall, my testing experience for my very first Evocati, I would say that this was a very educational one for me. My overall feedback, actually my expectations on this, I've tested games before in a professional setting, with some other video game companies that I've worked for in the past. But overall, my expectations were introducing a lot of new features into the game. I therefore assumed that there were going to be a lot of bugs, and I would document as much as I can and then put them into issue council. Overall, I feel excited. Overall, I think that the features are going in the right direction. Now, the hard work is coming in and being able to contribute to reporting bugs as diligently as possible, and then submitting screenshots and videos where possible as well, which I was able to capture some of that. I think that if we're going to be doing a lot more tests in the near future, I know that server stability is the main focus, so I will do whatever it takes to get as much data on stability as possible. If there's any feedback for the testers, let us know what specifically on stability that we do need to do, so that way we can start to test all these other features a little bit more, or dedicate more time to making sure each and every one of these feedback focus items are thoroughly tested as much as possible. So that way, when we release 3.23, that we've given it our all, and at least we have, at the very least, workarounds, and at the very best, fully working, no workarounds needed. So these are my thoughts. These are my testing opinions and experience, and I wanted to give this now before I forget any specific details. But yeah, thanks very much for listening and watching my Evocati testing session notes and thoughts.